Hey, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Wednesday, August 20th. Temperatures outside in the mid to upper 70s across the area. Plenty of sunshine. Had some fog this morning. That was dense in the southern valley where it did cause some traffic issues down to our south. But that's all burned off, and it's going to be a beautiful afternoon. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director, Bridgette Readel, who is on the road again. We got to make a song out of this somehow, Bridgette.
I believe the one you sang does it.
Is it copyrighted?
Likely so, yes. So, yes, I am in Mitchell, South Dakota for Dakota Fest. Today is a day where Dakota Fest welcomed in a lot of the state politicians, certainly representatives like Dusty Johnson, as well as Senator John Thune and more. And Brooke Rollins was slated to be here at 2:30 this afternoon to address the crowd and then also meet with state leaders of several commodity organizations. Unfortunately, due to a plane delay, she is not going to be able to make that time frame. Maybe it's because of the fog, because when I left my house at 5 o'clock this morning, that fog was thick, and it was that way all the way to Watertown, South Dakota as I traveled. So but I'm sure it won't be a problem later today, because right now here, it maybe doesn't look that way on radar or anything, but it's hot. And that noise in the background is the air conditioner of my pickup, and I'm not turning it down. Just so you know.
It is a little hot down in Mitchell, that's for sure. And we've got some heat coming our way, if you want to, not as bad as it is in South Dakota, but we do have some warm weather over the next couple of days, and I think we'll relish every bit of it we can get, because much cooler weather on the way for the weekend. So for today, for the rest of today, we're looking at a lot of sunshine. Temperatures will warm up into the low to mid 80s with a southeast wind about 5 to 15. Tonight we'll have clear skies, no worries about fog tonight due to the stronger winds out of the south. We'll have lows in the low to mid 60s, and Thursday we'll see a cold front that will be swinging across the state. As it does, that will trigger off some showers and thunder showers. They're going to be widely scattered. We're not looking at a lot of rain out of this. It'd be under a tenth of an inch for areas that do pick up any showers. And timing on that here in the valley is going to be closer to late afternoon, it looks like. And then Friday, breezy, but still mild, 78. That's not bad, but west-northwest winds at 15 to 30. And on the weekend, we have a direct flow coming in from Canada. Yeah, so that's going to bring in a little smoke, yes, but it's also going to drag in some much cooler weather with temperatures in the 60s. And oftentimes, when you get these cool air masses this time of the year that pour in from Canada that are this strong, you'll get what's called instability showers developing in the afternoon. And it looks like that may definitely occur on Sunday, getting some of these instability showers. They don't add up to much, and not everybody sees them, but that's a possibility on Sunday, with highs only on Sunday in the mid-60s. And we'll stay in the 60s through early next week. And then as we head towards Labor Day weekend, we will start to warm things up. But it looks like it's going to be dry all next week, too, and all the way through Labor Day. So that's good news there. We'll start to dry things out here for our crops a little bit. Obviously, we really don't need any more moisture. So thankfully, not a lot is in the forecast over the next 10 days or so. And when we have Gary come on the show a little bit here, we'll be talking about that, about the month of September. You know, we're getting close to harvest. Or getting into that by later in September and especially into October as well. But what does it look like for harvest time around the area? We'll kind of touch on that as well. And, well, we do have one stormy period during the month of September, it looks like. And, again, we'll go over that when Gary comes on here in just a little bit.
Looking forward to it. I'm sure Gary has a few insights, and again, it's a little early to talk about, exact dates and locations, but it just gives us a little feel for things. And folks could use a blast of good news. That would really be helpful right now.
Yeah, it's. I'll tell you what, Bridgette. Are there any farmers that you've talked to where, you know what? I mean, we could use a little more moisture. I looked at the map for all of the Dakotas and into Minnesota, and there's no drought conditions. So I'd be surprised if there was any in the ag community saying, you know what, our farm, we could use a little bit more.
Shut your dirty mouth. No, we don't need any moisture right now. Um, we would like to harvest. Let's get things done. Maybe if it was going to stay 90 and windy for a couple more weeks, we'd start to have a concern. But as for right now, most people are thinking, I'm very happy to make sure that we can get through our best harvest. Maybe we need something a little bit later in August, but right now, we're good. We're feeling really good, and pastures look great, so that's helpful.
Good deal. Good deal. And so, what is going on down in Mitchell? What event is that again? I missed that off the top of the show. I'm sorry, Bridgette.
Dakota Fest, which is a very similar to Farm Fest, maybe even similar to Big Iron, this farm show. And so have had the opportunity to walk around, visit with a lot of farmers in this region as well as vendors who do work down here on a regular basis. Brooke Rollins, USDA Ag Secretary, was scheduled to be here today, but unfortunately, that's not working out in her schedule due to a plane. I don't know, maybe it's too hot for the plane to land. That's at least how I feel about it right now. Um, so there's other things though that are going on, and the legislative group for South Dakota will be on a panel this afternoon answering questions. Um, the something to think about though that's coming forward in the crop protection industry is that in the past, when it came time for us to get pesticides registered, and I'm going to use the example of a herbicide, it would take us about 12 years to get through all of the testing, work with EPA, etc. And then additionally, about $300 million. Well, there is a company out there, and this is based out of Indiana, called Enco. They are a crop protection startup that thinks that they can make that happen a little bit faster. So, what they are doing is using artificial intelligence and machine learning discovery platforms to guide the research and development. So, it used to be that you would find a active ingredient, a product, a chemistry, and you'd have to put it through all the greenhouse testing, growing out the plants, etc. What happens when you're using the AI and also DNA encoded libraries, that allows the scientists to do more exploratory work on paper, so to speak, before they start bringing it to fruition and going through some of the rigorous testing. Now, the tests are still going to be conducted, so we don't have to worry about there being a shortcut in that regard. But what it does do is allow products to come to the market faster, which helps to recoup some of those expenses that total $300 million. Where does $300 million go? Well, it starts out with the discovery. It goes through the greenhouse work. It is the fees and registration that are paid to government agencies, and so forth. So this can help to lessen some of the costs on the discovery part of the process as well. Now, what we're also finding is that the days of a wide spectrum product being discovered, and I'm going to use active ingredients like glufosinate, glyphosate, pyrolyte, etc. Those products are probably not going to be found anymore. A lot of what we're going to do is going to be extremely targeted. It's going to be very focused on specific weeds or other pests. And so, for the most part, you're going to see products that come to the market that don't have just a general label across many different weeds and opportunities. One of the first products that Enco has been able to help work on, and they've had about 50 different projects happen. One is actually a herbicide in cereal grains that will be released in Europe, and it's very targeted for black grass, which is a problem that they have over there. So those are just a couple of the cutting edge technology items that we see from time to time with agriculture, and there's plenty more. Also, I want to take an opportunity to remind folks, you hear me talk about this often, check on others. We have had several farmer and rancher deaths in the last 2 weeks. Four have been suicides. And make sure that others are doing okay. If you are concerned about yourself or a friend or neighbor, reach out and ask for help. Remember that the AgriStress hotline is available 24/7. There are folks answering that who do understand agriculture and can relate to you. And it's not just our farmers, it can be our bankers, our equipment salesmen, the folks who are agronomists and crop consultants. Make sure everybody is doing okay and feeling all right these days because we want you here for the long term. Now, we're going to touch base with the American Ag Network, pick up our livestock markets. And when we return, as Dean mentioned, we'll have Gary joining us with the LRC. We're going to talk about weather for the day. Looking forward to all the questions you may have. You can reach us on the JLA Insurance phone line, 701 293 9000.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:22 in the afternoon. And temperatures outside in the upper 70s. A beautiful day out there today. Get out and enjoy it. Joining us today, one of our returning favorite guests, Gary Lezak, the founder of the LRC. Gary, welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. How's your day going, bud?
Doing fantastic. Is Bridgette there too?
Bridgette is. She's on location. She's down in Mitchell, South Dakota.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Hey, Bridgette.
Hi, Gary. I hope things are great. Just want you to know it might not look hot on the weather maps that you see for Mitchell, South Dakota, but I would like to attest to the fact that it's hot and it's humid.
Well, there's a cold front coming your way.
Boy, there
something a little chilly.
Yeah, this
It
weekend.
might be.
Yeah.
40s and 50s for lows are possible, so that's exciting.
No doubt about it. So, Gary, we're getting into hurricane season, and we've got Hurricane Aaron churning out in the Atlantic. We had this, or I should say you had this predicted with the LRC months and months ago. How has that panned out according to the forecast that you had put together?
Well, you've probably been following. It's pretty incredible. I think I can share my screen, so let me just try here. Oops, there it is, a whole bunch of shares. Just a second, hold on. I'm going to go to I want to show you here it is. You can see it here. There is the hurricane right now, and the hurricane center they are now. I'm all messed up here. Hold on. The hurricane center doesn't realize right now at this second that this system has become a category 3 hurricane. Look at the eye wall and the circulation around it, and you can see that is Aaron. Here's Cape Hatteras right here on the outer banks of North Carolina. And fortunately, Aaron is going to come like this and get close to Cape Hatteras and the Outer Banks, but not close enough. Maybe they get 30, 40 mile per hour winds, and that's it. But the 120 mile per hour winds will stay offshore, and then it's going to curve out to sea. But you can see here also, Dean, that this is our prediction from 6 months ago. We predicted that a mid-August risk, so we'll consider August 15th to 20th, mid-August, for this region. And we targeted it based on what happened with Tropical Storm Chantal, which we'll talk about in a second, and the East Coast. And if I might make this full screen real quick, you can see what happens to it. This is the forecast. This red area was the forecast projected in March in our guide and put on X and broadcast with you guys. For the hurricane to possibly track right over this red swirl. The latest track has it going just west of our prediction. So the swirl is our prediction from 6 months ago. And this 3 here, it's maybe a category 3 when it gets to here later today. It is going to be real close to our prediction. So just imagine, this is our prediction, and this is the path that it has taken, and it's going to go right over our forecast.
And that's using the LRC method, which most of our listeners are pretty familiar with right now. But for those that aren't, Gary, how can you make a prediction in March for hurricane season in August and have it be that close?
Very good question. The weather pattern, here's how the LRC works, everybody. The weather pattern sets up in in October every year. It's August now. The weather pattern sets up every year around October 5th, 6th, 7th is day 1 of the pattern. So here we are, August 20th, and the weather pattern right now is still in the pattern we set up last October and November. And so the pattern is cycling. This year it's close to every 6 weeks. And there are these weather seeds that get planted that become winter storms, that become tropical storms, that become severe weather outbreaks. We can tell you when there's going to possibly be a heat wave, when there's not going to be a heat wave. And we predicted the ending or diminishing of the drought conditions over the agriculture belt from eastern Wyoming and winter wheat areas of the Dakotas all the way to Ohio across the Corn Belt. We predicted that the drought would diminish and end. Why did we do that? The weather pattern was already favorable for consistent rain producing systems all season long, and July and August came through for us, and the drought pretty much has been wiped out. But basically, the pattern sets up in the fall, repeats all season long, and we're still in the same pattern, but in 2 months, we'll be in a new pattern that's never happened before.
And I think Bridgette can attest to that. That most in our ag community right now are saying, "Turn the faucet off. We need some drier weather."
You can
Do
tell
you
me
really
that
need
we're
to be
right on
dry?
average for. Yeah, well, you can tell me that we're right on average for precipitation. It's just that we got so much of it for so long. So yeah, for right now, we'd be okay for a dry period for a little bit. Now, if I'm
Well,
wrong,
there are two.
I'll have farmers who
Yeah,
send me that message. But I think right now we'd still look for it.
yeah, Bridgette. Remember what we've talked about, and let me explain it again. This year in this pattern that's about 6 weeks long, the whole cycling pattern is repeating over and over again. There's a phase 1 of the pattern and a phase 2 of the pattern. In North Dakota, Fargo, for example, has been twice as wet during phase 1 of the pattern, and half as wet during phase 2 of the pattern. We are in phase 1 of the pattern now. So I think I had that backwards. But phase 1 of the pattern, you guys are usually a little bit drier. So you're going to have a chance to dry out over these next 10 days. The concern is September 5th to September 20th. That 15-day window.
Believe me, that's a
September
concern.
5th.
Yeah, well, that's a concern,
Yeah,
sir.
that 15-day window is likely going to get a chance of those thunderstorm complexes to come through. The caveat could be maybe enough dry air starts coming down that it wipes that chance out, but I'm concerned that's your wet period. And then September 20th to October 5th, when you're deep into harvest, maybe it dries out again, but it's going to get wet during that part
Sure.
of the pattern across Iowa, Nebraska, southern Minnesota. That is likely going to be possibly too wet late September and early October, while you guys up north may get to dry out during that period.
And that would be great news, yeah, because we don't want our ag community all. I mean, they've had enough problems so far. This, although, hey, it's better to have a little bit more rain than not enough rain. At least, and if we no, you would rather have less. Really? Okay.
Bridgette, you would rather have less rain?
Send me those messages.
Less rain?
Okay, I'm gonna ask farmers to text me. Y'all do. I'll send all day long. You can email me ag@flagfamily.com. Many farmers will tell you wet years with too much rain takes 15% of our top end yield right off because the plant is too wet to fully mature and develop. Drier conditions that generally bring us a better crop. Now, not everybody's going to agree with me, but I bet there's plenty who do. So start sending those texts and messages, kids. I'll be ready.
Okay, here's Bridgette. Bridgette, tell me if I know you're probably going to go to break here in a second, but Bridgette,
sure.
Tell me if I got this right. I just heard you. I think what you're saying, if it's a drier season, as long as the rain is timely and comes at the right times, then we're good.
Oh, that always matters. But I will tell you that we don't have to be in a severe drought, but we'll take dry to abnormally dry if we get a choice versus overly saturated. Absolutely.
Okay.
If I can predict, and if you can tell me exactly when rain's going to come and if it's in a timely fashion, I'll take that number one.
Gotcha.
But too wet is a disaster.
Yeah.
Too wet's bad.
Yeah. And there's been parts of the area they've picked up just the other week down in the southeastern part of the state, 3 to 7 inches of rain, which that's just, too much too soon. Too much too soon.
Western Cass County, straight west of Fargo, had 7 inches.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pockets that have been very, very, very wet. Well, we're coming up on the bottom of the hour break. When we come back, we'll talk more with Gary about the LRC. If you have any questions for Gary, we've got a couple email questions that have come in, Gary. But if you have any, you can email me, weather@flagfamily.com. and or you can call us at 701-293-9000. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. 1:37 in the afternoon. Temperatures outside 78 degrees. Pretty decent day out there with plenty of sunshine. Now, Gary Lezak, the founder of the LRC and Weather 2020, is joining us this afternoon. And Gary, one of our listeners has an email question here asking, what does Gary see as far as early frost potential across the northern tier of the U.S.? And you had something in your newsletter, I believe it was last week, about the first frost potential or first freeze potential for the northern plains. And I believe you had that targeted at the end of October, right around October 28th, if I'm not mistaken, for our area.
Right. Yes, this is the case. In fact, I have this brand new chart that you're showing here, and I believe it still has that. Let me look. I'm looking at it right now as well, and I'm just hovering over it. It has on the first freeze for Cass County region, your Fargo region, it has on October 24th, 32.6 degrees, 33 degrees on October 22nd. So between October 22nd and October 27th is what the model shows as the likely first freeze date. A frost could happen earlier, but that's what it shows. Remember now, here's the caveat. As we talked earlier, the weather pattern sets up around October 5th, 6th, or 7th. There's a whole reason for that date specific to start the pattern. So October 24th will be into the brand new cycling weather pattern, the LRC that will exist from 2025 into 2026. And that hasn't set up yet. So we're pulling from this old pattern, showing that's when the cold part of the pattern would come towards the last week of October. Could it happen earlier? It could, because the new pattern is going to be starting by then. The last few years, Dean and Bridgette, the cold part of the pattern, the pattern began with a cold part of the pattern and the dry part of the pattern. This time it's going to start with a wetter and warmer part of the pattern. And so we'll see how that translates to that October prediction, but just know that's what it does show. October 24th, 25th, 26th for the first freeze.
Okay. And Gary, I know there's a lot of you got the Farmer's Almanac, all that, all that stuff about. We've had a lot of people ask, "Hey, what is this winter going to look like?" And my answer to them is, we won't know until the new LRC cycle sets up. But there's other seeds that are planted as well, La Nina, El Nino, different stuff we look at, and there's a lot of signs pointing towards a cooler than normal winter across much of the northern plains. But again, it's too early to tell for snow. Is that correct, Gary? Until the new LRC cycle sets up.
It's really too early to tell all of the above. So when these forecasts come out in September, in August, September, October, anything that comes out before November 1st is likely going to be wrong. So listen to it. Yeah, all the signs pointing towards a cooler winter. That is absolutely not true per what the LRC suggests. Okay. Mm-hmm. These forecasts are wrong. The Farmer's Almanac that people go look at, it's fun to look at. Let me just tell you, if you look at the Pacific Northwest, cold and stormy, the Southwest part of the country, wet and warm, the Southeast, wet and stormy, the Midwest, snowy and brutally cold, the Northeast, brutally cold and snow, Great Lakes, horribly cold, snow. There's no region that's going to have anything other than something that's exciting that's going to make you go buy that book.
It's good clickbait.
Yeah, it's clickbait is what it is. That's what the Farmer's Almanac is. It is right 25% of the time, and the LRC is going to be right in the 65 to 80% range. Now, why can't I tell you what's going to happen? Because we don't know what the pattern is yet. And by mid-October, maybe we really do start having a good idea, and I might stick my neck out then and start saying what I think. But it is early December, and on WDAY right here, and there's a lot of farmers, a lot of you listeners out there, you've been following for the last 4 years now. We have gotten the forecast right for North Dakota, for the plains, for the agriculture belt, 4 years in a row. Okay, and I'll stand behind that. Not perfect. We're not absolutely perfect. Not every single county did we get the forecast right, but for the majority of you, it's 4 years in a row, and I'll be looking forward to that first week of December. Dean will try to push it to late November. Jay Thomas might say mid-November, but I'll be pushing for that first week of December because that's when we really know the pattern, and it's not just the pattern for the winter in that first week of December. That's for December through the next September. So for your planting, your growing, your harvest seasons, we'll know a lot more by then. So we'll see how it sets up. But these forecasts that come out early are so flawed. They aren't right. There is a La Nina, which is the cooling of the tropical Pacific. Some indications it's trying to be La Nina. For all of us, we don't want La Nina because according to Bridgette, it's okay. That means drier than average. I always want wetter, stormy. I want the Farmer's Almanac forecast to be right. Okay, I like to look at it just because that's exciting.
Right.
But we'll see how it sets up.
Like everybody else, I'm happy about that forecast until I'm not happy about it. So I promise to keep you posted on what I need.
Oh man. So Gary, the rest of let's take a look at our area, and we briefly and Addison, if you want to pull up those graphics, because Gary was talking about the drier than normal pattern setting up. And, we use numerous models with LRC, GFS, European. Here's a look at the GFS over the next, this is our American model, over the next 10 days through early September. And we do have drier than normal weather with the wetter weather down to our south. Now, Addison, if you want to pop up that other graphic, which shows the month of September in general. And in terms of precip-wise, like Gary alluded to earlier, we've got a dry stretch coming for the first other graphic there. There we go. A little rain on the 3rd, and then we have basically dry weather all the way until mid-month, and then that's the stormy part of the LRC cycle that Gary was talking about. And I know, Bridgette, you said that's not great timing, unfortunately, but that's the same part of the LRC cycle that came through earlier this month, which brought the severe weather to the state. So now, will that bring severe weather as it cycles back mid-September? We're really not in prime severe weather season, but again, we could get some strong to possibly severe storms. But what I'm more concerned about, and Gary alluded to, is the wet stretch there over about 7 to 8 days mid-month onward, which again, like Bridgette said, not the best timing.
Well, this is from the global predictor. Go on, Bridgette, go on.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say it just doesn't have to be a complete and utter downpour either. If we're going to get some rainfall, it might be cloudy and overcast, but maybe we don't get a lot, and we still can combine.
True.
Right. But anyway, that map was from the global predictor. There's no other system in the world where you can just get your next 6 months forecast right now. And so that's available in your app stores if you want that. It's called the global predictor. And we're going to change that up a little bit in the next few weeks. I'll tell you more about that. It'll be very exciting. And then I want to share my screen just one more time here, see if I can pull this off here. I'm going to be part producer and part producer. See if I can share my screen. Can you see my screen yet? There we go. Oh boy.
Put it on your business card, Gary.
Okay, here we go. There we go. So on this, you can see it now. This is straight from our dashboard, the Weather 2020 Vision dashboard. And I've got Cass County in there now. So if I go to snow and precipitation extras on this tool, this weather tool, our Weather 2020 Vision dashboard, I've got this new thing called Snow Bars, Forecast, Great Lakes, and Plains. And it shows that you have some snow around November 18th. These are the dates it's going to snow in Cass County. A little bit. So around November 18th, there's a storm. There's a possibility of snow November 24th, so getting close to Thanksgiving. And then the first 5 days of December, it shows a 6-inch snow. and then there's a big one around January 3rd, right after New Year's. So, but this is a cool little product that we have. And then snowfall inches shows about 35 to 44 inches of snow. That goes through January 31st. So if I went to March, hold on, so all the way to March 31st, see what your snowfall. Remember, this is pulling from the old data, but it's still fun to look at, like the Farmer's Almanac. But this is the weather 2020 map. But it shows you the updated forecast all the way into March. Big snow, February 26th. And it does have 56 inches of snow, about 68 inches of snow in Cass County for the winter, is what this shows. But it could be as low as this one shows, only 34 inches. 34 to 68 inches of snow. Oh boy, quite a range.
That's a big range. and like you said, Gary, that's using the current LRC cycle that we're in. We'll have a much better handle on this by the time we get to early December on what because by then the new LRC cycle is more than likely going to be set, and then we'll be able to give a more accurate prediction of when these bigger events are going to be coming through during the winter, spring, and all the way into fall.
Exactly. And things to monitor you can do as you go through this yourself. If you're a weather enthusiast out there, see what starts happening in October. Remember, day one of the next year's pattern is going to be around October 5th, 6th, or 7th. If October 15th there's a big storm that comes through and Dean's all excited about it, mark that down. Dean's going to be marking it down, and how it looks in the upper levels and what it does to you guys. And then maybe we start to identify what the cycle is. You could probably figure it out yourself if you know that part of the pattern will return. So if you get a big storm October 15th and it happens to be a 60-day cycle, right around December 15th, you're going to have another one. And around January, 2 months later, it'll be February 15th, you'll have another one. And then April 15th, you'll have another one, just on that part of the pattern. But if you mark down each time there's a long dry spell, each time there's 3 days in a row with precipitation, watch how the pattern will repeat. This is how you can start learning and growing confidence, gaining confidence in what the LRC is all about. Just as a weather enthusiast, you don't have to know all the deep science, and believe me, that can get you all confused anyway. I've been in deep research because I want to find the cycle early. I'll tell you, Dean, I've got some ideas on how to do it, but
nice.
Usually it's December. That's why we wait till then for that winter forecast.
Right. And we've got Tom on line one. Got a question for Gary. Tom, go ahead.
Hey, Dean, Gary, say just kind of specific. While I'm in Cass County, I'm wondering about November 10th in the Duluth area going up the North Shore. There's a big celebration going to be that night. And if just for reference, the 50th anniversary of the Edmund Fitzgerald sinking over Lake Superior. In Lake Superior.
Wow.
So,
wow.
So that I'm wondering, how's travel? What are you expecting? Do you expect a big snowstorm November 10th?
As I just showed you, it's after November 10th when that first snow comes in. I think it was November 18th, but we'll have to watch because remember that's when the new weather pattern is setting up. I mean, I hate to develop a system that it's like I'm really good at forecasting for January to September, but November, that's the first month that we start to have an idea of what this pattern is. So we might have really good insights by November 5th, November 1st. I hate to wait that long to give you that forecast, but whatever I would tell you right now literally is going to change around October 5th when the new pattern evolves.
That's fine. And I thought maybe this was too early, but I just thought I'd ask just in case.
Good deal. Well,
thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Appreciate the call. And, yeah, Gary, it's going to be an interesting – the last few winters around here, and I know a lot of people weren't mad about it, but they've been tame winters the last 2 winters. So, I mean, just if you're in terms of snowfall, it's been pretty we've been lucky. So I think we're if you're an odds better, we're probably due for at least a near normal winter around here in terms of snowfall.
I agree, Dean. It has been the last few years, as you know, it's amazing. And I know you're in tune with it. Watching the LRC set up, and then we're fascinating. It's right on schedule. But it would be nice to have storms dip down across Oregon and California into the southwestern United States, into Utah at least, and that provides the bigger, more exciting storms. If you're interested and you like storms, if you love weather, you want those kinds of storms. The last 3 or 4 years, you're right. Even though we've been okay on moisture and not having serious drought, it's still been like, is it going to produce or not? And it does. It produces when we expect, but it's been near average precipitation. We would love to have like a more exciting year, but I don't know if Bridgette would.
Okay, Bridgette will take it if it's timely. I'm very particular about my weather, Gary.
I know.
And Gary, before we leave, if anybody, I know we've got a lot in our ag community up here that have subscribed to your product, and it's helped our ag community out quite a bit, knowing when these timely rain events are going to occur, when the drier times are going to occur as well. If we have anybody listening that's interested in signing up for your product, what's the best way to do that?
We just showed a few minutes ago, if you had a chance to see it, you saw the product, the Weather 2020 Vision Dashboard. About 150 farmers are using it now. It's a great weather tool. It does cost $1,200 a year, but it's a great tool to have, and you can do your own analytics down to your county, down to your state. If you want the whole United States, it's a little bit more. If you do get that, we'll throw in the newsletter, the Weather 2020 Intelligence Report that I wrote yesterday. That showcase in a year's time, you'll go, oh my gosh, this is incredible. The cycling weather pattern, you'll learn about it. So we'll throw that in. But if you just want that, that's $300. That's weather2020.substack.com. Otherwise, contact Bryce Palmer or contact Dean Wysocki.
Yeah, you can.
That's who you contact.
Yeah, you can always shoot me an email, weather@flagfamily.com, and I can forward your information along to Gary. So, Gary, I want to thank you for joining us today on Weather and Ag in Focus. We appreciate your time. And for Bridgette and for myself and for Gary, again, thanks for joining us. Don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show, that's coming up next.